So, welcome to American Experiment Radio. I'm here with Xulfi. Xulfi, we're both host and co-host, either or, depending on the situation. But tell me, Xulfi, what is American Experiment Radio?
So the American Experiment Radio is our podcast where we talk about American life, politics, and world events. Um, Hopefully, we'll try to give an in-depth analysis on world events that are happening across the world. Um,
Yep.
for some of the topics that we would cover today are the Chinese spy balloon, Andrew Tate's situation, the recession, Hunter Biden's laptop, and the Turkish earthquake.
Gotcha. Yeah, so for those that out there that are new to this, or this is your first time watching this, or whatever the case may be, um, yeah, so primarily what we talk about. So there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. We're going to get into, um, kind of to introduce ourselves and where we're from. So me and Zophie, we're from the Liberty Movement. We've worked together before. We're in the Liberty Movement, and we support the cause. So uh, our idea was to create a podcast or show to essentially talk about ideas that need to be talked about, and ideas that need to get out there, right, and circulate information and a lot of stuff. Because we're living in an unusual time. We're living in different times than before. So the podcast podcast is something new too, but hopefully we can do something good out of this. We can make something good. We're gonna have different guests here. I believe we have Jonathan that's gonna come join us. So yeah, yeah, Zo, what do you have to say about that?
So we have our team over there at Jonathan's house who are trying to set up our camera work there. We
Right.
can see that he's changing the camera right now. Let's just start talking about the Chinese balloon. What were your first, what do you call it? What was your first reaction to an apparent spy balloon being on top
Right.
of the United
Yeah,
States?
so that's dude, when I saw that thing, I mean, when I first heard of it, I was like, there's a Chinese spy balloon or a balloon, even a balloon. Like, how is that not something to be like at utmost urgency to take down or something to address, right? And I was just astonished that no one did nothing, right? I was ranting. I was like, if I were there, I would shoot it down myself if I could. But shame on the government on the government for not addressing it as quicker than they should have, than they did.
How,
Right? They waited until it went all the way to the ocean. You were gonna say something, Zoe?
Oh yeah, do you even know our budget? Like, I know people were just going at the army, the navy, and saying we have so much defense budget, and no one was doing anything about it.
Right.
Um, when I first heard about it, because I kind of know that NASA does a lot of these experiments with the balloons, with the satellites and balloons. I kind of That was my first thought: is it a satellite that maybe the helium balloons leaked a bit and then it kind of descended?
Right.
Because if they have satellites already, why are they using balloons to spy on us? NASA
Right.
is actually, I mean, Chinese space agency, which I don't even know the name of, is actually planning on sending their own control room up there. I forgot the name, the space station that they monitor
Right.
everyone from. So they're actually thinking about doing that, and then they're using balloons for spying. Didn't really make sense to me. So I was just waiting. Maybe they'll show pictures. And the first picture that I saw of the zoom in made it look like that it was a satellite. So,
Right.
and I was trying to connect the dots, and it hit me because the flat earthers, they talk about NASA sending satellites through balloons, like helium
Right.
balloons. And even NASA talks about sending satellites through but huge helium balloons, and NASA is actually the only organization that uses the most helium um, in the world. They are the biggest consumers of helium. So it just like made sense to me at that moment that this was now a cover up. The whole
Mm.
Chinese spy balloon thing is a cover up, and
Yep.
a lot of these, if you go on, because I was writing it on I was writing on it on Twitter, and people were making fun of me, but a lot of these flat earthers were like, aha, we caught you. We like this makes sense. It's not the first time balloons have been actually falling down themselves, and people always record these satellites falling um,
Right.
in their neighborhoods with a balloon attached to it. So there's nothing new about it. It had always happened. This one became a big issue because people were recording it. It didn't just fall. It was just up there. It kind of came at a very a
Right.
lot of these planes, they were scared that a lot of these planes that were flying from Montana were going to hit it. So that's why it became a concern, and the news channel picked it up and they started recording it, and it got out of hand.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that's I haven't heard about that. I haven't heard about that theory, right? But yeah, no, it's an interesting topic, or to get into. You can't really. I do believe it's some kind of cover up or something, right? There's when I saw that thing, I knew there was something going on for sure. There's no doubt about it. They're up to something, because how are they gonna let Chinese supposedly satellite or whatever fly over our in over important spots in the U.S. like in over bases, missile silos, and all that stuff. Like it's against it. That's why I'm surprised they haven't taken it down, because it's like
Oh, they did.
they
They
can drop
actually did.
literally drop a bomb on us, and they just let it happen.
And they've done
But
that before. They've dropped a bomb in the past near New Jersey, I guess, and then the
yeah,
one in Savannah, Georgia. They've
yeah,
done that before. So, and most of
yeah.
these bombs haven't exploded, and they've gone lost. So,
Back in World War II, I don't know if you heard. Back in World War II, when they dropped the Japanese dropped the bomb in, what was it? What state was it? One of the northern ones?
Hiro. Oh no, no, it was Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
No,
the
no, no.
cities that they
Oh,
bombed. What?
they dropped the bomb. Okay, no, the Japanese dropped the bomb on American soil.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Hawaii?
no,
No,
no, no. This was on mainland U.S. mainland in like Oregon
I,
or
I'm.
something, one of the northern states.
I've never heard about that. I know that they invaded Alaska. They invaded. There was a small battle in Alaska somewhere.
Right.
That's what I've heard
Yeah.
of. Maybe I'm wrong. I
No.
don't know.
Yeah, they legit dropped a bomb on mainland U.S. The Japanese did in like I forget which state, man, but it's one of the northern states, and it's like towards the west. So
Should we add Jonathan Hanna to this conversation? Let's see what he has to say.
yeah, bring on Jonathan Hanna. So Jonathan Hanna, guys, is also we all work together in the Liberty Movement. He has a lot to say. He has a pretty well spoken guy. Yeah, let's bring him on, Jonathan Hanna.
Hey, he's right there. I know. I was
There he is.
not bringing him in earlier.
Hola, guys. What's up?
Yeah, so we were just talking about um, we're talking about a bomb. So we're talking about the balloon, the Chinese balloon, and it kind of
Yeah.
went to where I don't know if you heard about back in like World War II, the Japanese had dropped a bomb on U.S. mainland, and we're talking about how the satellite could drop a bomb too. But it was like I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I mean, not to mention the planes that they flew into our ships and whatnot. There are always those as well. But
Right.
Oh, apart from the Pearl Harbor invasion or the destruction of Pearl Harbor, I'm not sure if we can call it a invasion. That, by the way, that also connects to the flat Earth thing. Anyways, go ahead.
You're saying,
all right.
Jonathan?
Oh yeah, okay, so as a national security issue, I really feel like it's overblown. This is just my own thoughts on it, my own opinion. I feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 2 on a scale of national security threat. It's a
Okay.
fucking balloon. flies over. They have satellites. They can actually intercept transmissions from the U.S. already, and a lot of the things that they're doing are much more advanced than some weather balloon
Right.
that could be
What if
over. Weather could
what if the
not be.
satellite was like a bomb? What if it was like a bomb? It was like a pretend satellite and then release it.
And really, it just made Biden look weak. He should have shot it over before it crossed over any of our territory, but he chose to wait until it already flew over and probably transmitted everything back. So, who knows?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
when it
because
was
it
over
was a
Montana,
cover-up.
what?
Yeah, I feel it was a cover-up. This is a story they made up later on when it became an issue. So they need to show us the debris, first of all. I have not seen any pictures of the debris, so we can actually verify that it's actually a spy or it had any spy gadgets attached to it. It clearly
Yeah,
looks like a satellite. That
that's
hasn't
interesting.
happened yet.
That's
And
actually a good thought process because they decided to blow it up right over the sea where you can't find any evidence of anything being there. Because if they were to have done that in mainland U.S., like maybe they're hiding something, right? Like you said, maybe they're hiding something, right? That was in the balloon.
For this happening during the Trump administration and wasn't blown out of proportion like this. It actually happened several other times where this was just not blown into what it is right now for some reason. I don't know what the media is doing. You know how the only reason we're talking about it is because they were talking about it a lot. Really, we actually don't care because it's not really that big a deal. But we're being forced to talk about it being the fact that it's on mainstream media and it's the narrative, which is kind of strange.
Right. Yeah, it is strange actually.
And the only reason media is talking about it because people were talking about it on Twitter. It was going everywhere. There were videos out there, and good cover up.
Because
And
the CNN was covering it, CNN, all the news channels were covering it, and
they could have covered,
they're all like,
but they could have covered anything. The whole point is they could cover anything, but these are the things that they should cover. It is literally blowing my mind. Like,
maybe this was a distraction from the entire Ukraine-Russia thing also.
Like, it's cool, yeah, people bring up things on Twitter, but hashtag whatever, you can just fill in the fucking blank, is going to be trending at some point during the day. The media is just going to pick and choose and cherry pick what it wants you to pay attention to. I feel like this is nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. No, they choose what they want to, and if it's like convenient to them, if it like betters their agenda, they'll cover it, But anyways,
just to like maybe give more, just to add more to what you said about them hitting the missile over the sea, which we actually never saw the missile hitting the object. It did hit the balloon. And I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of debris left over that maybe fell on the sea.
Did it shoot it down with a missile or with did it like
and it clearly misses it. It clearly misses it. When you see the video, you're like, hey, I don't see it going all the way. I don't see I only see the balloon pop. The balloon popped. That was it.
I would assume they're accurate and they can not miss a big old balloon.
It's in the video. You can see the video. The rockets actually never hits it. It goes like 20 feet before downwards, and then you see the satellite pop. Not the satellite, like the balloon pop. I'm calling it a satellite. There's no spy gadget on it. I'm saying it's a satellite because it looks like a satellite.
Right.
Anyways,
that's what I was thinking because you can't really tell, but that's what I was saying. Like, did they use the ammunition? Like, was it was it a missile or was it what do you call freaking when the jet has
bullets, ammunition?
Bullets, yeah. What would you call that? I don't know. Anyways,
bullets.
Because that could have been that.
I don't know what kind of. Be able to say
are you drawing a blank? Didn't you have a gun? Aren't you a gun owner?
Oh, they took his gun when they carjacked him.
Oh, he was.
I was a gun owner until they stole my gun. But
anyway,
yeah, no, I'm just curious what the size rounds they use though for a jet. Like, I'm pretty sure they're or something like this.
Like a rocket launcher or like a
No, I'm talking about the ammunition, the rounds.
Like for the machine.
but you would
Yeah.
still see something. Like if you can see, I'm gonna play
You won't
this
be able to
for
see
you
the rounds.
through. You won't. I mean, you could see
No, you won't
something
be able
like
to.
a.
You can see the missiles.
Okay, okay, I agree to disagree here. Um, no, what I was trying to add before was when they launch rockets, right? When apparently our rockets are taking these satellites and other stuff to space, um, you always see them going between cameras. So first you see a rocket going up, and then when you're recording it from our perspective from the land, you see the rocket be going on a level. It doesn't go all the way up and disappear. It actually, if you
Right.
keep looking at it, it goes straight away, like from your perspective. And most of
Right.
their rockets are launched from Florida, and
Is
they
it
aim
possible?
towards
Right. Is it possible to pull up a
Bermuda.
video?
Oh, that is a good question. I can look for a video while maybe you guys talk about it.
Okay.
But the thing is that the only reason
All
I
right,
bring
so
it up is
while we wait on that, let's have Huxley tell the audience about how he got carjacked in New Hampshire.
oh no, he got
Well,
carjacked
I mean,
in
No, that
St.
wasn't
Louis,
in it.
Missouri.
Right.
that was in St. Louis. No, I got my car still in St. Louis. So,
All right.
so you guys know, don't bring a Hyundai or a Kia to St. Louis, specifically downtown at night, right? I've never gone to Missouri. I've never been to St. Louis, and no one told me until afterwards. They're like, "Oh, I should have warned you about St. Louis. You shouldn't have. I should have warned you. If I would have known you were there, I would have warned you." Like, yeah, you would have, but you didn't. So that does me no good. Anyways,
No,
so
in fact, it's counterproductive that you tell me now. It makes me think
yeah,
you're just
exactly. So no, I didn't believe it when it first happened. I was like, I was in disbelief. Like I went, so I remember it was like we were gonna go out canvas, right? And it was like 9 o'clock. I go down. We're like 3 stories up in the downtown. It was like a suite. This big old. It was a big old suite, and I remember it was like 12 guys. But anyways, we go down. I go down by myself in the morning to go warm up the car or whatever, and and then I don't see my car. I go to the parking lot. I go or turn around the corner. I go to the parking lot, and I don't see my car. I was like, at first I was like, of course I parked it here. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I parked it more down there. And I kept walking, right? And I said, okay, something's not right here. And I turned around. It's like, did my car get towed? Like I thought, like I was trying to think the best, right? I didn't really want to like think badly about it. You know, like best case scenario. Okay, well maybe my car got towed because I didn't pay the lot ticket, which I didn't. I forgot. I didn't pay the parking
oh, that makes it
fee.
even worse.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't pay the fee. Um, so I thought I got towed because of that. So and then I go see where my car was, and then I see my it has tinted windows, right? The window, right? The shape of it and the tint was keeping the glass together. It was on the floor. It was shattered, but it was still intact. It was still that shape. And and I was like, no way, my car just got jacked. Like, and at the same time, I was like, did it get towed? Maybe they towed it like this. Do they break windows? And I was like trying to like convince myself it was okay. It was like not a bad thing. Like nothing happened. But then it started to sink in. Like I think my car just got stolen. And
Hence,
I was like starting to like I panicked. You're muted, by the way.
oh, okay.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I hear it.
Okay, anyways, hence the reason why your name is still Carjack in my phone to this day. Your name is still
Right. Yeah. No, that's funny. That's funny you say that because I remember when that happened. I told you I remember you putting my contact as carjack. That's funny. Anywho, but yeah, no, I called. So I called 911, St. Louis, right? Called 911. this is like 9:30 in the morning, right? And guess what they do, right? I call them. They say, you have reached the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. We're sorry, but we cannot at this moment take your call. Can you please hold?" I was like, "What kind of police? What kind of police puts puts someone that's calling 911 on hold?" Right? And I was just like so dumbfounded. I was like
Yeah,
so flabbergasted, right?
they fuck with you.
Dude, that was just a day, bro. That was just a day full of just roller coaster rides. I couldn't get a hold of 911. They had me on hold for like 15, almost felt like half an hour. I think it was half an hour. It was like 2 hours until the police actually showed up, right? Because I told them when they actually answered like 15 or 30 minutes later, I was like, "Hey, my car just got stolen. I don't know what's going on. Like, I need can you send some cops over or whatever?" Um, but yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad. I remember I
Yeah,
was just like so furious. I was like so heated. I was like upset. I was feeling all these things, man. And yeah, I know it was bad. And then it's till this day, I still suffer from it. Well, the consequence, well, the repercussions, meaning like I need to pay for the bumper to get replaced and got to pay for all that stuff. So
Reasons why he hates
yeah,
Democrats. Kidding. I actually found
Democrats
the I actually found the video.
are bad.
Should I present it? It's actually
Yeah,
from
present. Can you present
um,
it?
it's actually from this movie called Level, and I'm not sure if it's anyways. It's Eric Dubé narrating it, so it might be a little, you know. Anyways, let's just look at it.
5 alleged miles up, and they show you our level horizon with a local sun. Then quickly switch cameras to their fisheye lens, as if that didn't just happen.
So what are we looking at?
You can't have both. Looks as if
You
their
see it?
cameras go about as high as most hot air balloons do before they burst. Who do they think they're fooling? But let me guess. You saw the curvature in the images from satellites. The thousands of magical orbiting aluminum tin cans floating in space. It's all animation and games until one comes crashing down on your squad. Many crashed satellites have been reported the world over. And the one thing they all have in common is giant helium balloons attached to them. Of course, satellite technology is real. We get our weather information, communication equipment, and even some internet service from them. Look up Google Loon, for example. It's not that they wouldn't use the magical floating satellites if they could, it's that they don't physically exist, nor does the globe. They have been sending these up one at a time since it all began. I will allow them to explain it.
He got a patent on that in 1950. And those early balloons were so large, they didn't have any way to launch them, except they actually launched them from aircraft carriers.
Modern scientific ballooning was born. It was also the genesis for NASA's newly developed super pressure balloon.
The reason for super pressure ballooning is they have absolutely stable altitude, day, night, and it doesn't matter how cold the atmosphere is. They are sealed.
So your shape is always the same. You always displace the same amount of air, and therefore you have the same amount of buoyancy all the time.
This day-to-night altitude stability allows super pressure balloons and the...
Hi, I'm Matt, and
These were the worst balloons they've ever created. Just saying. But anyway,
Right.
do you guys want to still watch it, or
this
Or
The
you guys
video I
wanna
was
talk
referring
about it?
to was the one that was spotted over the U.S.
No. This has been. This movie came out 2-3 years ago.
So
So
Right.
it's
are
a
we
known fact.
discussing, are we discussing whether or not satellites are real, or whether or not like they're actually propelled by just balloons all the time? Or
Oh, we're just saying this was all a hoax. This was a cover up. This is what we're talking about. Satellites, there is satellite technology, but They tell you that all our TVs, internet is through satellite, but it's not. They use the water cable still. 95% of communication, telephone, all the internet is through wiring or in the ocean. 95%.
So how about Neuralink and what Elon Musk just did over Ukraine? Was that like all a hoax?
Yeah, that's part of the 5%. It's not a hoax. But
Do satellites work or they not work?
they do work, but it's just it's not like out there. It's not. They need more. What do you call it? They need more evolution in that industry to make it happen. You know,
Right.
more
So you're
for example. Yeah, I'm not saying that everything's fake. Yeah, the moon landing is fake, but apart from that, like there have been advances in technology, but undeniably, like.
right. Yeah.
How does
So
doesn't everybody's GPS on Google Maps use that?
Yeah,
So
the
the
satellites are
premise
there. Like
is,
satellites were still
hold on.
going up. Like,
Let me understand this real quick. So the premise is that the satellites are supposed to orbit the Earth are not as what we're told. They're rather balloons. Is that what the premise is?
yes.
Oh, okay. Because I wanted to make sure
So
what we're getting at.
yeah,
Can I go on Google Earth and just look right where I am at my own house right now?
that's true. So what he was explaining was that our rockets are actually not going up and taking these satellites. That is a hoax. Satellites do work, but this is how they work. Balloons are the ones. These were NASA people telling you that they were sending out balloons. These were NASA people. Eric Dubé was just showing them. They're like, hey, let them narrate. So they were the one narrating. Like, did you miss that? I guess like because
I
it
just
was
feel like there's like some old Chinese guy out there watching us talk right now. Like, these son of a bitches are ruining my life's work. I worked on satellites for 70 years. I got one to work, and they're saying they're not real.
Okay.
That's
No. They're not saying the satellites are not real. That is not what we are saying here. We are saying that all that them telling us that the rockets are not taking these to space. And he was saying all the air balloons they go up there. Let me just stop. Anyways, I don't think you guys got the point here.
Well, no, I understand. No, I understand where you're coming from. I do. I just don't know well, I haven't really looked into whether the balloons are the ones that are, it could be a possibility. I don't, but there's
No, the
I don't know
point
where
is that
I
if
stand on that.
satellites, the thing is that satellites spy on, like they tell us the satellites spy on other countries, right?
Right.
You get it? So if they have satellites spying on us, why would they need a balloon, like a balloon spying? Get it? That's the point. Like, so you're telling me that that's not real and this is real. This is
I
actually
mean,
we are shutting down a balloon with a spy
Forget about
machine.
TikTok. Don't worry about TikTok at all. Worry about the weather balloon.
well, I mean,
I
this
feel
is just a rabbit hole um this is just its own rabbit hole that that specific people go towards, right? But I mean, it can literally be anything, right? It can be that's just a theory, right? I don't know if that's a theory on your part. Do you believe that to be a theory, or is that, well, it's just a conspiracy, right? Like all things, or what do you think?
couldn't this have been anything that they brought up and we're now talking about it? Couldn't it have been some, hypothetically speaking, something sprinkled on an envelope and sent to somebody that's some chemical or some virus that's out in the open or fucking something else or the other.
Right.
People have
Yeah.
talked about these things, like even about the virus. There's some rapping about coronavirus 10 years ago. Eric Dubé actually in 2016 came back. Not 2016, maybe 2012, 13. Like I think that's the time period when he came out, and he is the father of the modern day flat Earth society. Like not the society, like the movement. The flat
Right.
Earth society made up, by the way. So he's the one who actually brought these questions up. He's questioning, hey, so if you're saying this thing is happening, why are we seeing this? So, for example, if rockets are going up, taking these machines, why is there a balloon taking up machine? Like, what is
Right.
that?
Yeah. Let me add something. Let me add on something real quick. So, so I understand that the flat Earth community will look at this event, this scenario in the flat Earth lens, right? You're just looking through that one lens, right? And that's why you come to these conclusions, and I won't get to that, but what do you call it? People that believe that Earth is a globe, it is round or is a globe, look at it at a different lens, right? And that's just the way it is, because you look at it like that in that lens, and we look at a different lens, right?
I mean,
Amongst the
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead.
whether the Earth is flat or round, it doesn't um, change the fact that they're using balloons to take up these spy machines, apparently, which look like satellites.
Okay.
So, and then in their own NASA is claiming in their own videos about it. So it's whatever. Forget about the environment the world is in. This is still a fact. We have
Yeah.
Right.
proof of this. There's proof that we're showing you that, hey, they're lying to you.
Oh
They
yeah, I mean it could
NASA
be.
is NASA is spending 52 million a day on graphics.
It may be and it may not be, but I just feel like the way it's being presented and everything is just affecting the consciousness of everyone in a certain way, and they're slightly shifting everyone in a certain
Oh yeah.
direction. I hate
Oh yeah.
that. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of things I just don't agree with. Like a lot of these things that's being talked about, right? For instance, and that are being presented, the way they're being presented, are just are preventing us from talking about things that matter.
I agree.
They just take away from time that we just should be talking about something else other than
No,
something.
no, I totally agree with that point, because um, there's a lot more important things that we ought to be talking about. Like that. Yeah, sure. The balloon, the Chinese balloon, like we don't really know what they're up to. It could be that, or it could be something to make it look a certain way, right?
Let's
But
just
it
talk
could, for
about
all we know, it could be just a test to see how we would react. Maybe China's just
how
sending that thing over lower. That way they can just see how we react and say, okay, this is how they react. Well, maybe we can do it again. This time we'll throw in a bomb, or
right.
or COVID again, COVID 23 or whatever, right? And then pop it and release. I don't, it's again. So back to the point was, we need to look at our own. I think we should look at the bigger picture. We shouldn't be distracted by these. Are all like distractions. If CNN's covering this, and all these news outlets are covering the same thing,
Exactly.
there's an agenda to it.
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I'm saying. I wish there was just like a blog. You know how they have the one thing of all the newscasters saying one thing? I guarantee you, if you took all the clips of all these newscasters within the last couple of weeks saying the same shit, it would be the same paragraph with like two
yes,
words
bro.
and then it's just a different face saying it. That's all.
Yep.
Working
I've seen that
hard.
compilation of videos. I've seen that compilation of videos of the same script, right? Repeated. Oh man, it gives
Rejecting
someone chills.
the most important thing nowadays is rejecting the common narrative. It's doing things and talk about things that nobody else is talking about, or talking about things that they're telling you not to talk about. That's probably what you need to talk about, whatever
Right.
it is.
Exactly. No, I agree. Totally. There's a lot more important things to be talking about, like you name it. What's going on in our country that is not being addressed right now? The border crisis, maybe.
Everybody's attention spans have like if you rounded them all off to fucking what they used to be and put them to a round number, they'd end up at 0 at this point. They just flip on their TikTok. They sit there on their phone. I would sit there and watch these kids at work. They'll just go like this. They have no idea what's going on around them. They're not making any moves other than what the world is telling them to do. They're just going in a straight line. They're not doing anything other than what is exactly necessary.
It's sad, bro, because TikTok and all these things, it could be a genuine like addiction, like for some people,
Yeah.
and for some people it could be very hard for them to like get out of it because their attention span is so short now that they can't do anything else. They have to go back to it.
You guys want to talk about the earthquake?
Oh, bad. Yeah. So
Yeah.
did you so that earthquake that happened in Turkey,
Yeah, it was like a
it's
7
crazy,
point.
bro. I was looking. Yeah, no. I was looking at an article. I don't know if it's correct, or I don't know if Sophie can pull it up, but supposedly there was 120 earthquakes in that day. Can you believe that?
Yeah, so once an earthquake happens, it starts a chain of earthquakes. So,
Yeah.
for example, I can show you a video where the Japan, what is it, the Richter scale that actually measures the earthquake, was able to pick the waves up. They weren't a lot; they were from 1 to 2 maybe. And I can show
Yeah.
you the video. It's pretty awesome. If you guys want to see it, then we can maybe talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, pull it up.
I mean, the last time I seen the report, I was watching the news earlier, and I was like over 1,100. I can't remember if it was either dead or injured, but people are fucked up for sure.
Right. It looks like Japan, my guy.
Yeah, it's Japan. They picked up the waves all the way from Turkey.
Oh, they picked it up all the way from Japan.
Yeah,
Dude, that's crazy.
look at the waves. It's going in a wave pattern, and it shows you how, like, on Richter scale they're like 1 or maybe 1.5.
Right.
Look, the entire thing is so okay. So once the plates move, they keep on moving for um, like a certain amount of days. So I've kind of survived an earthquake back in 2005. I was in Pakistan, and we had an earthquake which was as bad. It was 7.6 and then 7.5 on the Richter scale. And throughout the next 3-4 months, there were hundreds and thousands of earthquakes that happened every day. So after that, the biggest that was 6.5, I guess. But I
Right.
remember these earthquakes like haunting us
Yeah.
every day. Like so that area in the eastern Turkey is going to be infected by earthquakes for maybe a entire year to come.
Starting to get right. No, I'm starting to get more and more convinced that I don't know if how religious you guys are, but I'm starting to believe that we're in some kind of end time era right now because like you see all these things going on, right? I don't know where you guys stand on that, but like I've seen freaking okay, so this earthquake that just happened, right? Which it was very tragic. At least 2,500 people have died already as of the last time I checked, and
And there's so
people
many
are just
videos out
devastated.
there. Yeah,
What's up?
and it happened in the poor part of Turkey also. So it happened on the
Right.
eastern part. If it happened towards the western part, you would have cities like Ankara, Istanbul, maybe Detroit, or why am I forgetting names of cities?
Right.
But yeah, these are more heavily populated cities. On the eastern side, they're not that populated, and it borders with Syria. So, like city like Aleppo, which is like a historical city, even there they're showing you that these buildings were falling down, and there's so many videos of buildings falling. Like I can show you a few videos of buildings falling. They're like just horrible.
Right. And not to mention a lot of other stuff has been going on too. Like uh the winter that we've been having here in the US, on the west side, all the floodings that hasn't happened in the longest time. All the because I was born in California, right? I don't live there now. But oh yeah, and I've never seen that before. Like all that much rain and so many places flooded, and people got displaced and all that stuff. It's never happened in California like that before. Not at least it's not been recorded. But
Yeah, because there's been a drought for such a long time
oh
recently.
yeah,
The same thing happened in Pakistan. They had a drought for like 3-4 years. Like they didn't have so much rain, so much water. But just this year, like I mean, last year they had record rain and floods. So temperature is changing. If you see right now in a lot of the Turkish parts, it's snowing a lot. So not on the mostly on the western part, but on the east on the it's on the western part, it's snowing a lot. And even in Greece, where it never snows, like for the past 3-4 years, it's been snowing pretty bad. So we can say maybe the poles are changing. The North Pole kind of changes every year. It moves a bit, and that's what's happening right now. From the past 2-3 decades, it's moved significantly towards the east, and that has such an impact on, like, say,
No,
on
I've heard
Europe.
that.
And
I've heard about the poles shifting, and supposedly there's this thing that the poles are supposed to shift every 6,500 years, or something like that, and like we're like overdue or something.
So it happens slowly. So it's a cycle, like the weather cycle. We always end up at a ice age, which we're headed towards an ice age. So global warming, in a way, which
Global
is a
warming doesn't
natural.
exist.
Yeah, but it's a natural thing that the Earth has. So the Earth fluctuates through weather through thousands of years, and it's
Right.
going to end up at, because of the climate change, it's going to end up in a, what do you call it, ice age again. So I don't know what happened. I thought that his lights were flickering, so
Yeah.
he's getting haunted right now. So he has to join again.
He shouldn't have said anything about global warming. He probably just got canceled.
Oh, right. Like the FBI were like, hey, he's saying too much. The CIA. Anyways, let me show you this one video where these people are driving to the road, and then they look toward the left, and the building falls. Let me show it to you.
Okay.
Huxley is going to come, but I'll show you the video anyways.
What happened?
Damn it, I don't know how to share screen. Okay.
You're back. We thought you got canceled.
Bro, that's wild.
And the thing is, there's so many videos like this. It's not like 1 or 2 videos. They're like 20, 30 videos of houses falling. Like
you guys got a little experience with natural disasters. What do you think, Huxley? What were you saying when you think about, like, when you were talking about the end times and this having to do with that? What do you think?
No, I'm like convinced we're living in a really, really uncertain time, because all these things, calamity after calamity. Not only that, it's just the spirit of war is in the air. Just, perplexities, among the nations, right? People, rumors about wars, right? It's getting more progressively more intense. The Bible calls it describes it as birth pangs, right? What are birth pangs? Birth pangs are, increase in intensity over time. And what we're seeing here is that all these things just keep getting worse and worse. The weather, the earthquakes, and everything's getting worse. The rumors of wars are getting worse. We haven't seen a war like Ukraine, right? A conventional war against two modern powers, right? And it's only going to continue to get worse if this is the case. Now, so if this is correct, right? If we're actually living in the end times, you would see this continue to progressively get more worse or more intense, right? But remember, if they say peace and safety, whenever they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Just keep that in mind, because if that's the case, then that's correct. But yeah, no, I've seen. So I was going through this YouTube channel. It's like they post videos about like world events, and it was just like the earthquake, the floodings, there's like fires, right? This is like one after another. There's this volcano that erupted in India, right? Not too long ago, like a week or 2 weeks ago, right? And then there's like flooding, I don't know where else. Is that correct, Zoe? You don't know?
I haven't heard about the volcano in India. Maybe in Andaman Nicobar, they have maybe volcanoes near it. I have no idea.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I saw it from there. It may be just false advertisement, but
There are not
Yeah,
a lot
no.
of volcanoes in that region. Maybe the Andaman Nicobar Islands are towards, they are in the Indian Ocean towards Indonesia.
Right.
And
Probably.
so that's where the fire belt is. Indonesia has too many volcanoes, and some of these islands are towards west of Indonesia, do belong to India and in the Indian
Right.
Ocean. And
Yeah,
that's
because
where
I saw
the
the thumbnail. I saw a thumbnail and it was like a tropical, it looks like Indonesia.
Well, in regards to what you were saying, Huxley, I think the times are getting progressively more aggressive, and the easy times are coming to an end. Especially, I mean,
Oh yeah.
what do you mean by easy times? Like, I think I thrive more in times that are more tough, and when things get more aggressive, I feel like I do better. So I'm really looking forward to what's coming up next.
That's
But
interesting.
it's
Some
like, okay,
men, we're made like that, right? We're made to strong men, right? Use up, make, I don't know if you heard about the saying. Maybe we've talked about this before, but strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, right?
right.
I believe that there's still a lot of strong men out there, that are like us. We believe that sometimes bad times, the strong men come out and use that situation, right? Or to I don't know how to put it, like to thrive, right? But hopefully not in a bad way, right? Right? Because sometimes people take advantage of situations like that in their own
Yeah. Well, I mean, to compare it to like
malice.
old as opposed to now, or like to biblical times, this is the only time in human history where betas has had control of us at some point.
Oh
So
yeah,
if you look at, they can cancel us, they have control of a lot of the financial stuff. It used to be back in the day, you used to have to go out and kill someone or cut off someone's head in battle to get glory. Now it's just
yeah,
like, fucking dorks run everything, and you fucking, here you are. So that's where we're at sometimes.
yeah,
But
man.
times to get hard again, people revert to their roles rather quickly.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
long for shit. Once shit hits the fan, which I don't think it will. With America, things are gonna work themselves out. Here, shit can go haywire in a lot of countries. There are a lot of countries where in America as well.
Right.
So so
I feel like,
it's.
yeah,
I think
there's a
humanity is
lot.
going here. I think we've advanced far enough to where we're not going to like subvert into complete chaos and tear each other to pieces. But times might get tough for a minute, and people are going to have to, toughen up pretty quick. I feel like.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like America, right, is the concept, the idea of America, right, will always be there, right? America will never end, right? The spirit of America, right? But maybe the country will end, you know, maybe the country will fall, but because we don't know, right? It could be, something like what happened what happened to Rome, right? It got too big, and a lot of weak men started getting power, and Rome fell. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and we could see a repetition of that. We can be probably torn apart internally, right? If we keep fighting amongst ourselves, if we don't find agreements on something, we're gonna just collapse. We're gonna just disintegrate into pieces, little pieces.
And if you believe
Put a piece of
in the mantra that strong men create good times, then look at like George Washington and the gang. If you look at what they did back then, which essentially
right.
they just took this country from them guys, just snatched it. If you look at those group of guys compared to who's in power right now, what would they think of these people? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They'd be like,
Yeah.
what is going on right now?
Yeah. What did you do with our country?
What are you doing? Like, we will just, they would have tried to overthrow them. They would. You already know they would. They try to overthrow them somehow or something. They would.
Bro,
Because
they were complaining about like a 3% tax, when the US formed. We're being taxed to freaking poverty right now. We're looking at 21% tax rates. Like, I can't, it's hard for someone to be successful nowadays because because we're being taxed to poverty, and we're going to stay in poverty because of tax. And the rich stay rich because they don't get taxed. They don't, tax doesn't apply to them. Supposedly it's supposed to, but I don't think so.
No.
So Huxley, I
But
saw
sure.
this on Twitter, like today, and I thought about you. So I didn't really understand much of this, but I'd maybe like you might find it interesting. This picture. So it's I
All right,
think
bet. Let me
talking
see.
about phases of the civilization. So here it's saying that this is like
Right.
rebirth after the floods, I guess. And
Yeah, the rebirth,
when
buried after last reset, and advancement is created. Destruction. So phase 1, next cycle. Okay, so population boom, rediscovering the world. Moral phase 3, moral and sexual degradation, Earth exploitation limit. Interesting. But where is this from?
I have no idea. I just saw this today on Twitter, and I was like, I thought about you. I'm like, I'll show it to you, but then now that you were talking about,
Right. I mean, yeah, moral and sexual degradation, that's the key, I think. I think that's takes a lot, plays a lot in our society, and it's destroying us ultimately. I can get into that. It's a whole thing. It's a, I feel like it will be too much. We'll go on forever. But
so when you were talking about taxation, are you trying to get into the whole recession topic, which I have no fucking clue with? I'm sorry for cursing, but yeah, I have no idea of how recession works or how the housing crisis is happening right now. If you want to maybe talk about that.
right. Yeah, so we're in a recession already. Statistically, you go look at it. People that claim that we're not in a recession, that's just that's foolish of you, because if you go look at the stock market, look at the housing market, right? We're seeing a drop in prices in the housing market, and we're seeing a lot of things are going down right now. So, and then it's almost starting to look like what happened back in 2008, right? The recession that we got there, but this time they're predicting that it may be worse, way worse than the 2008 recession.
Coupled with massive inflation.
With that, yeah, there you go. Not to mention the massive inflation that we're getting, right? And it keeps getting more and more dramatic. So as far as the housing pricing, the housing market goes, is that we're going to be seeing a drop in prices. So if the property, so let's say, Xulfi, since you don't really, so I can kind of educate you a little bit. So if you have a house, right, and it's valued at, let's say, $200,000, right, and you bought it at $200,000 in our market right now, which before it was high, right? Right now we're starting to see a drop, but before it was high. It was like, let's start at 200,000. That's where it started. Right now we're seeing a drop. So if you bought your house at the top at 200,000, your house will decrease in value. You will essentially lose money. You lose that, and sometimes people lose houses because it just keeps going down, right? Or sometimes people have to, right? But that would be a bad thing for the house owners, for the people that own the houses. But those who want to buy a house, it may be a good thing, because you see the price will drop. Let's say $200,000 house drops to $100,000. That's a steal. You can. That's what I'm trying to do personally. I'm trying to wait till it goes all the way down, so I can buy a house, so I can get a house or something. But right now is not. If you're thinking about getting a mortgage and getting a house right now is a terrible time to do it. Don't do it. Wait until it drops. But yeah, that's the housing market, right? And there's a lot of other stuff that's going on. Maybe you guys are aware too, but yeah, no, it's bad right now, and that's what I'm talking about. That also includes the end times, right? This is just getting worse, right? The state of our economy, it's bad, and not just our economy, globally. This is going to affect, if we fall, the whole world is going to fall along with us, right? If we, something happens to our economy.
Yeah, because they're heavily reliant on us, our economy. If our economy is in shambles, their economy is in shambles.
Yeah, exactly.
But really, if
But
you
the
look
thing,
at that, it's not just the housing market. Like when I was listening to you describe the housing market, I could have you could have been talking about crypto when you were talking about that, because all you had to do, the market was coming up. You could have bought anything and you were making money. You could have bought fucking anything and you would have made money. Same thing. You could have put your money, if you would have bought in 2012, if you would have bought anything in the housing market and you had it still now, it'd be worth double what it was then, if not triple, quadruple. Same thing with crypto. Anything. Could have put out anything. Ethereum, Bitcoin, fucking anything. You would have tripled up, quadrupled up. But that was like, it's been kind of like clown world for the last, 10 years or so. Now it's getting tough where they're getting the era of the professional or the grinder. Somebody's you're going to have to work hard to make money now. You're not going to be able to take your money and invest it and poof, you get super lucky on a pump or something like that. Those days are over. It's over.
They're over.
Money like that no more. It's not going to fall out of the sky for you like it was, which has happened. If you have had money to invest in the last 10 years and you've been putting it into essentially anything, you've made money if you sat on
it. Right. Speaking about that, I mean, what would be the ideal way to make money now? Like that's what do you guys think is the ideal way to make money?
It depends what you want to work really hard at, and depends what your interest is.
Right.
Well, I see a lot of people buying houses and then putting them up on rent.
Right. Well, it costs a lot of money to buy a house, and you got to have good credit, and you got to be able to. It depends on what are you working with. It depends where you start.
So here's the thing with rentals, Xulfi. The thing with rentals was right. So what happened during the COVID lockdowns? Right. What happened to the lockdowns? Right. When they locked down, right? People weren't working. People weren't working, and then people couldn't pay the rent. Some people didn't want to pay rent, right? So I feel like to avoid, if you want to rent houses, that's cool. If rent to people that that you trust. But renting now could be it could be a very it could be a bad thing for renters, because if the economy or they lock us down again, which they might because of climate change, right? People won't pay rent. It'll be a disaster, right? I don't know if you guys heard about that, but that can happen again. So it's a risk. Like everything is a risk. But what was I getting at? So let me kind of give some input about how we could make money nowadays, right? Nowadays, in this economy that we're living, the best way to go about it really is, I don't know, working for yourself, working for yourself, doing your own thing, having your own business, because nowadays it's really tough. It's like entrepreneurship is the way to go, I believe, because especially if you do something that you like doing, you go on the internet, you can make money on the internet. You can provide a service, you can sell products. I feel like there's way to make money now. There's better ways to make money now than there was before. But yeah, no, it's you were gonna say something, Jonathan?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the way to get money used to be like you had to have a job, a factory job. The internet didn't exist. People didn't have cell phones. People didn't have Amazon. You couldn't order things off the internet. You couldn't do a lot of things you can do now. And I mean, now it's an attention economy. So if you can find a way to get attention, you can find a way to make money. If you can find a way to have connections to get something that nobody else can get, that you can get for someone else, you can middle someone, you can make a lot of money that way. If you have a skill or a talent, make a lot of money that way by simply making a video and putting it online that never existed before. YouTube, Twitch, you can go down and start an Amazon FBA and fucking go buy 100 wall trimmers from Walmart and find a 10% markup on Amazon and go at least make your money back, if not make a little bit, or something. I don't. Any 12-year-old kid can get on a laptop and make money nowadays. No excuse for you not to at least be able to go in your wallet and pull out at least a couple dollars. You're fucking
exactly. There you go. Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, for sure. Hey, so do we got any other topics?
don't have any money to invest. Here's the thing: is that you can go right up here. Everybody's hiring, man. I came back from campaigning way later than everybody else because I did the Texas one starting starting December 7th or 8th. I didn't get home till December 22nd, 23rd. That's when I got back here. I found a job right away.
Right.
Just went up. Just go ask anybody hiring. Anybody's hiring. Even if you don't got no money to invest, you can fucking just go get a job and then find something to do. Just go find
Yeah, a
something
lot
to
of
do.
places are hurting for workers because after the lockdowns, after COVID, people starting to refuse to work now. You know, there's a lot of people that got lazy and don't want to work anymore.
My
You know,
problem
a
is
lot of
my problem is I got idealistic. I really don't want to do anything except go out back and do this again. That's all I
oh
want
yeah,
to do.
for
That's
sure.
I've been waiting to get back to it. But this fucking matrixy shit in here in the real world sucks, man. I hate this. Like,
Talking about Matrix, we can talk about Andrew Tate and how they're just trying to screw him up.
it's like, oh yeah, he's a sex trafficker. Pff, really, dude? Like he has problems. Like he has like really. Come on, guys. Really, is this where we're at? We're just accusing this guy of what? And it happened in Romania. They just raided him out of nowhere. That's so
Oh,
fucked.
so let me tell you a bit about it. Like at during the trial, the girls that they had said had accused him came forward and said that they weren't the victims, and the judge told these evidences or that they were brainwashed, that that they were saying that he was innocent and all. Like it is
These
all
people,
made up. They're just trying to get him in.
I'm telling you, it's just if you get a little bit of power or influence or anything like that in this world, people will do anything to stop you, especially if it's for good, if it's for the right thing to do. If you're telling something that's against people's agenda, the overall agenda that they want to control, which people can say it exists or not, they can try to deny it all they want. All you got to do is open your eyes and ears and listen to what's going on out in the world. That's all you got to do. I mean, it's chaos. It's absolutely nonsense. Like everything is complete. It's a complete clown world out there right now. It is. You just have to look at it for what it is. You don't need to. There's not a whole lot of explaining you should have to do to just look up and just remember how shit was 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago. And it's just everything is flipped around. People are challenging ideas that have no business even being challenged at all. They're untested. They're just going to ruin things. They want to shake. We're already in a bad spot as it is. People want to shake things up all the time, instead of working hard and, in the words of Andrew Tate, be perspicacious, do things, that are good. People want to be on bullshit and cry like little girls. It is
Well,
annoying.
they wanted him, and then they have him there. I think he's gonna end up going like serving a lot of years, and like he's stuck now. Like there's no way out for him.
Yeah,
He should have just stayed in
yeah,
a UK or US. Like he shouldn't have gone to Romania.
yeah, it happens, man. Sometimes you got to fucking fall on there. Sometimes you got to fall on that sword for what you believe in. I suppose. I mean, he's strong. He's fine. He's got millions of dollars. Him and his people are good. He won't be starving in jail. He'll be fine.
What good is that money if he's in jail?
Not really that good, but it's not. You're not dead. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be in there forever. What is he? 36 right now? 37. Let's say he's got to do a few years. Big deal. He gets out. He's on a yacht. He's balling. He'll be fine. I think Andrew Tate will be fine in the long run, even if he's got to do a couple years.
The issue was that, like, people were scared of Joe Rogan when he became too famous, and everyone watches, like, still everyone watches him, and then everyone started attacking him. Like all the mainstream media started attacking him, accusing him of being crazy, and then he had to like chill a bit. He had to change his tone a bit. He started not being so conspiracy theorist, and then Andrew Tate comes out of nowhere, takes the limelight, and he became the top G. He became he was the new Joe Rogan.
He's not
And
afraid of being canceled, though. He's not. See, he's not. He's not going to change his narrative or back down or change his tone. He's
yeah,
very.
and that's why this is happening. I feel like they are just going after him now because of that. And
I think
I'm not even a fan. Like I always, whenever I saw Andrew Tate video, because he was just everywhere, I would like just skip his videos. I would not. Maybe a few videos that were like, uh, like a bit inspiring stuff that he was saying, I would listen to it, but not everything. Like
not
because
everything.
most of it,
Well, that's
most
what
of it was bullshit,
on
anyways.
the internet. I'm not going to agree with everyone on anything.
Yeah.
I believe in the overall tone that that he has taken in a lot of things. There are a lot of things he said I don't agree with. But it's fair. I mean, we could bring him up point by point, but we've already been talking for what, an hour and 5 minutes. I don't think we need to sit here and dissect Andrew Tate's fucking whatever else. But it's fine. I mean, Andrew Tate will be fine. Even if he's got to do a couple of years in the joint, he'll get out. He's got millions of dollars. I want justice to be done. If he did it, I wish he could do the time. I want him to do the time. Obviously, if he did it, if he didn't do it, I wish he did. I wish he couldn't do the time.
You're like, I wish he did it. Anyways, I think we'll end it here. Thank you for joining us on the American Experiment Radio podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and learned something new. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Take care, guys. Bye.
Yeah.